Dreaming of hydrated skin amidst these dry winter months? Dime offers clean, master esthetician crafted skincare products that deeply nourish, protect, and hydrate. Their formulas, made with clean ingredients, lock in moisture for skin that stays soft, smooth, and radiant all season long. Hydration starts with Dime's best-selling hyaluronic acid serum, delivering deep moisture where your skin craves it most. This lightweight, fast-absorbing serum helps quench dryness, plump skin, and boost elasticity from the inside out. Once your skin is prepped with the serum, seal in all that hydration with their Dewy Day Cream, a rich, luxurious moisturizer designed to provide all-day softness and lasting glow. Together, this powerful duo keeps your skin smooth, supple, and luminous, even in the harshest weather. Shop the duo now at dimebeautyco.com. That's dimebeautyco.com. And get the hydrated skin of your dreams.
There's some incredible TV coming out of the UK right now. Brits just do it differently. The accents, the wit, the scenery, the devastating one-liners disguised as compliments. It's all streaming on BritBox. They have the best mysteries, dramas, comedies, and seriously addicting originals like Outrageous, based on the true story of the Mitford sisters. They were kind of like the Kardashians of the 1930s, wealthy, audacious, chaotic, wildly opinionated, and always making headlines. And chances are you've never heard their story. It's stunning. It's jaw-dropping. It's very British. So check out Outrageous. It could be your next favorite. Don't miss Outrageous, streaming now only on BritBox.
The HBO original series, The Gilded Age, is back, and so is the official companion podcast.
Are you curious about how they brought Gilded Age New York to life?
I don't understand.
Which bit is not clear? None of it is clear.
Want to know where the writers branched off from history?
Well, when you've set your mind on a thing, no one can stop you.
I take that as a compliment.
Watch or listen to the official Gilded Age podcast wherever you find podcasts.
For as many gas stations are in this film, not enough Slim Jims.
Snap into a Hitcher.
Like, he runs up to, like, that fourth gas station row, and it's like, are you gonna get a Slurpee? No? Keep running? All right. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them. And this week, Paige made us watch
The Hitcher
from 1986.
The original.
Yeah. So, Paige, was this the first time you saw The Hitcher?
This was not. I watched this in film school.
Really?
Phil Eisner talked about this in his class.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't know if I have not had a chance to listen all the way through the episodes we previously recorded because, you know, war and shit.
Right.
But like, I think I talked about how he used to use a quote in class that Rutger Hauer looks like he's going to fuck you or eat you and you're not sure which one. And like, that's very true in this movie. But we watched this, like we watched parts of this in companion with Blade Runner because obviously Rutger Hauer is also in Blade Runner. So we were kind of talking about like creating a villain for an actor that you know can embody that villain.
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, so this was not my first time. I did not remember how well paced this was, how fucking tense this was. And I was disappointed that the only transfer I could find of it was like TV pan and scan with the bars on the side. And so it was like a tiny square.
I paid $21.99 to subscribe to Cinemax to watch this. Like Philo Farnsworth had just built the first like TV in my garage. Like that is how terrible this movie looked. I didn't hate the movie, but it looked terrible.
Well, and here's the thing. That looks terrible, but there's still really cool shots and really cool things that they do.
Oh, yeah, dude. The stunt work in this is amazing. Rutger Hauer does look like he's going to either fuck you or kill you. You're right. I mean, like, I get it. I get why people, like, love this movie.
I forgot about the bars after a little while. Like, once I was into it, I forgot about it. But I totally understand if you don't.
Anytime someone's slightly off screen, I'm like, man, I wish they had done a better job transferring this movie. Because it's not the movie's fault. Like, it's just like we got the made-for-TV cut, you know? I mean, it wasn't edited for like content, but it was like the bars for TV.
Edited for the screen. Yeah. It still had all of the content.
Yeah, I assume it did. This is the first time I've seen it because,
Sure.
I don't like horror movies or whatever. You heard me say it in the title.
Yeah.
But like, Paige.
This movie fucking slaps, right?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. I did not dislike it. My only thought was, is this just Fight Club in the 80s?
Oh, that would have been really interesting.
It turns out not to be at the very, very end, which I think is a mistake. But man, did I like most of it? I say most of it like I didn't like it. I think it's a good movie. I do think it becomes a more interesting movie if they never reveal that anybody else talks to or speaks to the Hitcher.
That I have never thought about that until now because I just think of him as an interesting villain. But that's a great reading because if nobody did talk to him, then yes, is it him? And has this guy been dangerous the whole time? And the Hitcher is just a figment of his imagination or nightmare as he's falling asleep driving, and he then becomes the Hitcher. That's an incredible reading of the movie that I had never thought of before. I love that.
Thank you. And I'll tell you how I got there.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes, so Mary Sue Hitcher, because like every time he just showed up and then killed somebody and then like disappeared or like planted a knife on him somehow when he wasn't even in the scene, like I was like, oh, this guy is just like, he doesn't exist. He's like a ghost or a demon or he's Tyler Durden. And I was like, oh, he's just Tyler Durden. And so I like stayed in that lane until the very end when the movie kind of ruins that because he very clearly does like interact with the cops at the end.
Right.
But
right.
Like,
yes.
If you take that out of it, way better movie, in my opinion. Because and I'll say this because the villain is not believable, but that is not anything different than like a Jason or a Freddy or a Mike Myers. Like they're all teleporting around through their magic portals or whatever to get wherever they need to be. So like from a slasher movie standpoint, I kind of like it.
I did look at this and try to like logic together where and how he could be where he could be. And it is possible through most of it.
No.
It's unlikely. He'd have to be amazing. It's not. But most of it is possible.
Here's why it's not. He kills a police station worth of cops.
Yes, he does.
And unlocks the jail that the guy is sleeping in, and the dude is still asleep. There's no way he's not Tyler Durden or just doesn't exist. I don't know. Like, there's no way he wouldn't have woken him up, is all I'm saying.
That's true. He may, well, but except that he doesn't have a gun before that point. So it's all knives.
I mean, yeah, but the cops had their guns in their hands. They would have shot.
Yeah, other shots happened. Yeah. And that's the one where like he leaves it unlocked. And at that point, I think in the world of the movie, they want you to believe that he has decided that our main character is his nemesis. Like this is he's challenged by him. He wants him on the road. He wants to go mano a mano against him. But reading it as a Tyler Durden thing is way more interesting. That just didn't happen at the time.
Yeah, I think it's way better.
But this is also, people have to remember, because somebody came at me in the Facebook group years ago about me saying it was not safe to hitchhike. It's fucking not safe to hitchhike. Don't do that.
Okay, but we've known that since this time. I mean, honestly, since a little bit before this time.
Yes, that's what I wanted to point out, because like that person was not from America. And they were like, I don't know why you guys, like, this is nonsense. It's propaganda. And I'm like, you got to understand that in fucking California, in the late 70s, there were literal serial killers killing hitchhikers.
And in the Northeast, there was that famous one in like Long Island, right?
Well, that's Lisk, but it wasn't hitchhikers. He was hiring escorts.
Oh, okay. So not specifically hitchhikers, but was like, yeah, okay.
It was along a highway, though.
Yeah.
Like in California, the Stranglers, that was hitchhikers, like literally.
Yeah.
That's part of why this movie comes out. And this movie becomes like the proto model for all hitchhiker killers. Like anything, any like urban legend kind of thing is largely based on this movie and takes from this movie. There is a remake. I have not seen it because why bother? This one's perfect. They don't do the Tyler Durden thing in the remake either, I don't think. If you want to remake it with Tyler Durden and make it more perfect, fine.
Yeah, do that.
Fine. I'm here for that movie. That sounds great. But I love this movie as is.
I do think it's great.
Yeah.
I do think it's great. Like the stunt work is amazing. The acting's pretty fucking solid in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no complaints. It's a solid like slasher almost.
Yeah, it's 98 minutes of anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
It's a slasher that I think has more of a story than a lot of others. Like, people will compare this to things like Wolf Creek, and I'm like, no, this actually has a story. And
I mean, I can see how they got there.
Yeah, and builds more tension and even though we don't really know a ton about our main villain, what we learn is enough to be scared of him. And like, I think reading this as Tyler Durden is fucking fascinating. And now that's all I can think of. That's all I want.
Yeah, he only shows up to Jim.
Yeah, because no one talks to him until the very end.
Exactly.
And like that, I mean, fuck, man. If they just never found him, that'd be fucking. And then it turns out, oh, fuck.
Or no, Paige, at the end, when he gets in the cab of the truck, he shoots him. And then it kills both of them.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
And then it, I guess, splits your girl in half or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, this movie does rip a lady in half.
Also, Paige, like the cops in this movie are fully as terrible.
Oh, the cops in this movie this movie hates cops in a way that is hilarious.
And honestly, quite modern.
To be honest, the way in which they are terrible are ways in which I have seen law enforcement act and react in real life.
Yes.
And it makes it so frustrating when you watch the movie because you're like, this is what would happen.
Yeah. You're like, this is super accurate because the cops are doing just the minimum they can do at any moment.
The least amount of investigative work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, until the police station deaths, right? You're just like, this is what would happen. Every part of this is possible. That's where it starts to get a little weird. And you're right, with the unlocked cell, that's where the Tyler Durden that could be wild.
Yeah.
Great reading.
I leaned into this movie so hard when I was like, holy shit, are they Tyler Durdening? And they would have done it fully, like what, 20 years before that movie came out, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So like
I
was like, oh my God, are they about to do something like what at the time would have been revolutionary? Like, oh my God.
Right.
And they didn't. But man, I was leaning in so hard because I thought they were,
Here's the thing. I think this movie is only ruined by our knowledge of Fight Club. Does that make sense?
Oh, I don't think this movie is ruined at all, for the record. It is a great, great movie.
Yeah. Like, it's still an amazing movie.
Yes.
And if you did not know...
I kind of just really want this, but a Tyler Durden version of this, you know?
Absolutely.
Oof. But no, it's good.
Missed opportunity with the remake. But like that, I think had we never seen Fight Club. So when this came out, the people who were watching it did not have Fight Club as a background to their media knowledge. And this was probably just fucking terrifying.
I'm sure it was.
Because like, he's fucking scary. I find him scarier than a Jason or a Michael. Because
you can see his face.
A, you can see his face, but B, he has his own wants and motivations.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily know what they are, and you're trying to reason and work around him. And like, the more he leaves that guy to live, it's almost like he's punishing him. It's brutal.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I think as a road trip horror, you can't get much better than this.
I mean, it's way up there on that list. I can't think of another one, honestly, you know? I mean, I liked Road Trip, not really a horror movie though. This is definitely the only one I can think of in the moment.
Well, I mean, we got another week at least.
I guess we're 2 episodes deep on this, so I guess Wrong Turn and Wrong Turn 2 both qualify, and this is definitely better than both of those movies for sure.
Yeah. Of course.
And Paige, I'm going to say something that may be controversial, and I cannot explain it, but Rutger Hauer to me is more or less just American Dolph Lundgren, and I cannot explain it. I can't, but it's like a vaguely Swedish, seems like not the brightest, but definitely the smartest guy in the room sort of look about him. Hard to read, that kind of vibe.
Interesting.
Definitely has a shoulder width that would bring all the pages to the yard kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, in Blade Runner, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. The one thing that I think he has over Dolph is that part of the reason his physicality and his face work so well is his eyes are so captivating, and not necessarily in a good way.
No, they're scary.
Like, he's got beautiful eyes and they are fucking terrifying.
Yeah. But if he had when he went into the room and was laying next to Nash and was rubbing on her arm.
Fucking scary.
If he had gently whispered into her ear, "I must break you." Do you think she would have turned around a little bit differently? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think she would have turned around. I think she would have backed up.
She would have backed it up.
You know? But I mean, that's such a terrifying moment too. Cause they're like, before that, when it like pans through and the shadows shift and he's like in the room and you're like,
Paige,
oh no.
But Paige, isn't that the perfect, I think, reveal that he is Ryder, that Jim is Ryder? I think that is the perfect reveal because it shows him walking into the bathroom, showering, and then like putting clothes on, but not like loving the shirt he's wearing or whatever. So he might, I don't know, put on something else. So like having him walk into the bathroom and then showing us that, you know, Ryder is already in the room with them is the perfect reveal. And then they ruin it immediately. But I was like, oh shit, they're doing it. Oh no, they're not. They're not. They're not. It's just a slasher. Okay, cool. He's just like, he's got like a magic portal gun or whatever. He's Rick from Rick and Morty. I get it. Okay, cool.
I like to think in that scene, because there is a moment where there's like a squeal outside and they both wake up.
Yes.
And then go back to sleep. I think he has already broken in at that point. And has like worked his way in, broken the lock, whatever.
That's definitely what it is because he's already in there by the time he wakes up, or by the time Jim wakes up. You're right.
He is. I feel like if that's where you're going to do the reveal, here's how I would do it. So like if we're Tyler Durdening, that's how we're doing the reveal.
I so badly want you just to describe what already exists in the movie. Like that would be so funny to me.
That'd be really funny. No, but he goes in the bathroom, he washes up or whatever.
Yeah.
She's there. And then we cut to him coming out of the bathroom. Like we still see Rutger Hauer in the room, but then we cut to behind his shoulder. And as we transfer the shot from shoulder to shoulder, we then reveal that it is, I forget his name, the main character, C. Thomas Howell.
C. Thomas Howell. Yeah. Jim is his character's name, but yeah.
Jim, that's right. Jim is standing there.
In the outfit. Exactly. Yeah. That's how you got to do it.
Freshly showered. That's how you got to do it. And then he goes and lays down next to her, but it's still the Hitcher. But now we're like, wait a second, what? And like the Hitcher then becomes our visualization of who the alter is, I guess. And then you do have to do it in the truck because then in the truck, the police have seen him.
Yes.
Air quotes. So you have to do that a little bit differently because they're arresting. I mean, they pull him out of the room. And so like at that point, they're separate. So
the police couldn't get to him until he's in the truck cab already.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you'd have to do the ending a little differently, but I do think if you manage to do it without the police ever seeing John Ryder, the Hitcher, then that could be wild.
The only thing you'd have to change, I think, except for when they're in the police station at the very end, is when Jim is running around the parking lot looking for them. And I was like, why is he just looking around the parking lot? And then I was like, oh, duh, the movie's called The Hitcher. He doesn't have a car. Like, that's like the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like when he like is running around, he would just see Rutger Hauer in the cab, see what's happening, and Rutger would be like, get in or I'll kill her. And so he runs and gets in, and then that's when the cops show up.
He gets in, and then the cops are yelling at him, and no one's yelling at Rutger Hauer.
Right.
Because it is him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just saying, please make this movie. If you want to give like a story by, great. But like, I don't care. I just want to see it.
This is wild. I'd never thought of that before, but yeah.
It's like, honestly, it's like two small changes and it like is Jim. There's no Ryder really. We just have this like super scary personification of Jim's like, I don't know, trauma. He almost gets in a wreck while falling asleep. So maybe that could be the moment he like snaps at the very beginning because he doesn't pick up the hitchhiker until after that.
Think about it like Drive, right?
Oof,
like
love that movie.
I know. Ryan Gosling, like most people read that movie as Ryan Gosling as the hero because of course he's beautiful in that jacket and that elevator. Oh my God.
I do want that jacket.
If you take a step back from Drive and it's anybody else, you're like, oh no, that person's just as dangerous as everyone else in the movie. He is also a dangerous facet of this crime ecosystem. We just forget about that because it's Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
So if you look at this movie and it's more just an unreliable narrator and we don't know that Jim is dangerous until we can't escape the reality that Jim is dangerous, that's how you would have to do it, is essentially flipping the script on your audience in the movie. But I mean, much like Fight Club does, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the movie Drive is largely about Carey Mulligan going from one abusive relationship to another and not realizing it until halfway into the new one.
Terrifying, but true.
But it is a good movie. It's a good movie, but it's also not a great place for that character's arc to end, I guess. But Paige, do you want to perhaps go through this movie scene by scene?
Yes.
Let's do it.
This is a terrible transfer. We already mentioned the black bars. I hope they get a better transfer at some point. Come on, Criterion Collection.
Yeah, I already canceled my free subscription because the quality was lacking.
I'm about to as well, since we finished this.
It was the first thing I did. I was so mad that this was the transfer that they had.
Yeah.
They couldn't find one that was like formatted for movies? It's a movie.
Yeah, well, it's a movie from a time in which this was the only format for movies.
Well, movies on TV, but like movies went to movie theaters and wider screens and wider like formats than this.
Yes, but I don't know how much this was in movie theaters, because if you notice the credits that occur while plot is happening, thank you credits.
Thank you.
It's HBO Studios.
Oh, shit.
Way back in the day.
Was this an HBO movie? I should know this already.
I thought it was wide release, and I know it's a cult classic.
It was. It did get a wide release. I did look it up.
It did get a wide release?
Yeah.
No excuse. No excuse for how bad this transfer is.
Although I don't know how wide it was. It came out in 86 and it was only on almost 800 screens. So it's not a full wide. It was probably 2/3 of all screens in the U.S.
Okay.
Or all available movie theaters, I should say. They didn't play it on like every screen.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the last I'm going to talk about it.
Right.
Because the movie is better than that aspect ratio deserves.
100. That's why I was so frustrated. But yeah.
The credits happen while story is happening. So that's great, because we have C. Thomas Howell, aka Jim, driving and falling asleep, and like a guy moving in front of him. He's, smoking. It's a dark road at night. He's clearly on a long drive and struggling through it. We will find out why later. But he falls asleep at the wheel and swerves out of the way just in time to not get hit by a truck. And as he's driving, and in the moment, it kind of like wakes him up because oh my God, I almost died.
Yeah, because he almost died. So yeah.
He almost died.
Fully.
And on the side of the road, he sees a hitchhiker and stops to pick him up. Now, I think he does this to try and be like, this person will help me stay awake. Like, whatever. It's better that I'm not alone. Safer that I'm not alone. I think that's why he stops.
I honestly think he's like, oh man, I just like survived the number one reason people die behind the wheel. Let me stop and roll the dice with number two. And pick up a hitchhiker.
I mean, possible. And he does say as he pulled up, my mom told me never to do this.
Yeah. My mom always told me to never bring a stranger into my personal space like this.
Right. But Rutger Hauer, John Ryder, gets into the car. And this is T-3 minutes into this movie. Like,
oh, yeah. It's immediate. The pacing of this movie is fucking brilliant, to be honest with you. I think we actually talked about this with Phil Eisner when we interviewed him for a bonus episode on Patreon.
Yeah.
He talked about how it was, you didn't really know motivation for Rutger Hauer.
Yes.
It was just like he was immediately scary with no reason. And it was just you're off to the races 3 minutes into the movie.
There's not even that much dialogue in this movie, to be honest with you.
No.
Until the police are involved, there's very little dialogue.
Yeah, because they got to be asking all their stupid questions.
Stupid fucking questions.
Because they don't want to do their job. They're like, hey, can you either be or provide me with an explanation for this that requires me to do no work? That would be great.
Can you get in and talk to the villain?
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. When they're like, he's going to kill her. So like, you got to solve it for us.
And then you feel bad when she does.
Right.
Anyway, Rutger Hauer is already scary looking.
Yes.
Scary vibes. Literally imparting that just from his performance. It's on par with Robert Patrick and T2.
That's fair.
As far as just being instantly terrifying.
Yeah.
But they start driving and he's not telling Jim a lot of information, but they start to pass the VW bug that passed Jim earlier, and it's off to the side of the road, abandoned. And Rutger Hauer pushes on his leg to basically hit the gas to pass it. And at that point, Jim is like, the fuck is that? What are you doing?
I mean, at that point, he's like, okay, you got to get the fuck out of my car.
You got to get the fuck out of my car. And he's like, look, I'm going to sit here and you're going to drive. And he's like, look, I'll take you to the next gas station. I will then drop you off there. And he's like, well, I don't need gas. And he's like, well, what do you need? And he starts laughing and he says, that's so funny. That's what the last guy said. Or I guess he says, what do you want? And starts laughing.
Yeah.
That's what the last guy said. The guy who picked me up before you. We passed his car. I cut his legs and arms and head off, and I'm going to do the same to you. And as they're driving, and this is, mind you, 10 minutes into the movie, 5 minutes into the movie, so early, they hit a traffic stop for like road work. And he holds him at knife point so that he doesn't say anything to these road workers. Now, as you mentioned, the road workers don't really acknowledge Rutger Hauer at all.
They don't.
Except at the very end when the road worker says, all right, you guys better get going, sweetheart. And Rutger Hauer blows a kiss at him, implying that they are a couple.
Yeah.
So this person does see them. But that's an easy fix if you're going to go the Tyler Durden route.
Easy fix.
Anyway, so he keeps threatening him and is like, I'm going to cut you here. I'm going to like slice your eyeball. But at this point, Jim notices that he didn't fully close the door all the way when he got back into the car after throwing the cigarette out.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to say the 4 words, I want to die. Instead, he kicks Rutger Hauer out the door. The door opens. He drives away. And this is, again, 12 minutes into the movie, like so early.
Yeah.
So early.
And if it's 12 minutes into the movie, and for the last 9 minutes of that, they've just been talking crazy about how Rutger Hauer's going to kill this dude.
Yes, yes.
It's all that. It's nuts.
Yes, it's nuts. But he lands on the road with his knife. We get a really cool shot of him standing up as the sun rises.
Yeah, like Rutger Hauer does some pretty impressive physical stunts in this movie, and it kind of looks like it's him. So it's either him or it's incredibly well done and hidden.
I think it's incredibly well done and hidden.
Yeah.
But that's a credit to the filmmakers that like...
Yeah, 100%.
Especially this old, and to have it be that seamless. Ooh, yes.
Yeah, like, dude, the car stunts in this are amazing. Like,
yes,
they're on par with like a Mad Max movie with like a little bit lower budget, if you will. Like, they're very impressive. It's just not like, it doesn't look post-apocalyptic.
Right.
But the car stunts look amazing, you know?
They're all done. I think it's mostly the freeway between here and Las Vegas, or maybe just a little bit outside Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So you get like Joshua Tree and stuff. Some of it looks like the extraterrestrial highway that I drove right outside of Vegas, which is very desolate. So you could easily film things like this.
Nash does mention that there are aliens there. So
she does. Well, I believe that the movie is supposed to be set in West Texas based on a few things. Like the cops are Texas Rangers. And
I mean, I've driven through West Texas. It does have that vibe where like, you know, it's desert and anyone might kill you at any moment.
At any moment. And most of the cops are Texas Rangers. So like, I think that is where it's set. I don't know that that's where they filmed it, but we'll talk about it in a fun fact.
Sure. Yeah.
But so he drives away and he's like, oh my God, I'm alive. Thank God.
Well, yeah, he pushes Rutger Hauer out of the car and then like floors it. Yeah.
Floors it. Now, Rutger Hauer gets back up, starts hitching. And we don't see it on screen because we're following Jim. But as Jim's driving, a station wagon with a boat pulls out in front of him and passes him on the road. And in the back seat are 2 kids and Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's like, oh shit, I have to warn them, which is something that I love about Jim as a character. Like, take the Tyler Durden out of it. At every turn, Jim is trying to stop other people from getting killed by this guy and trying to warn people and do everything in his power to warn them or kill that guy.
Right.
It's consummate lawful good in a way.
Yeah.
Until he becomes like chaotic good at the end.
Yeah, he is in this archetype the hero.
Yes.
And it would be cool if it was him in the, like he was fighting himself
That'd be
the
a
whole
flip.
movie. Yeah.
Right. That'd be a cool flip. But he drives up next to the family and is like, pull over, like, he's a killer, don't do it. But they don't get the message because he is in the wrong lane and sideswipes a bus.
Yeah.
And they drive away. And he then, as he continues to drive, sees their car on the side of the road and stops to check on them And we don't see it, but it is heavily implied because there's blood dripping that everyone in the family is brutally murdered in that car.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Yeah, definitely were. He gets back in his car, he barfs out the door. And in part because I think he feels some guilt over it, although there's nothing he could have done. He tried to do the most he could have possibly done to save these people.
He literally almost died just to warn them, Paige. Like, yeah, he did everything he could do.
Everything he can do. So he drives to the nearest gas station. It is abandoned. And he's looking around for where he thinks Rutger Hauer might be because this is the only thing close enough and walkable.
But it's wild though, Paige. Rutger Hauer owns that fucking gas station.
Da-da!
Because he like comes out of the garage in a huge F-off truck.
Well, no. That's another part.
Oh shit, that's the third garage they go to. My bad.
This happens so many times this week. No, but this is where, now it is implied that he does eventually get to a truck, but he gets to it in the scene. Here is where Jim is walking around this like abandoned station and he left the car outside.
Yeah.
And this is where I am almost convinced that Rutger Hauer switches the knife and the wallet. So now he has Jim's wallet and Jim has the knife in his jacket. Because in the scene, he comes in and hands Jim the keys to Jim's car.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So he has now had access to everything in that car, which explains a lot later.
He would, yeah. But like, why would he do this?
This is, for me, part of the you're now my plaything. Like, now this is a game between you and me.
Yeah.
And you are unarmed, so I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to wait until we can face off.
Can you imagine how many people you'd have to kill before you're like, you know what? I want to just have some fun with this one.
I want a challenge.
Yeah, let's just like let him loose and see what happens.
In this movie, his kill count is somewhere at least in the 2 dozens. Like, it's bonkers how many people die in this movie.
Yeah.
At this point in the movie, he's already killed, that we know of, almost 6 people. At least 5, if not 6.
At least 5, because it's the dude before our guy picks him up.
And that's if there was only one guy.
And then the family of 4.
And the family of 4, yeah.
Yeah. And that teddy bear, that's 5.5 at least.
And the teddy bear. And he's about to kill another guy because he hands him the keys. Jim chases him outside just in time to see him hitchhike and get into a passing truck. So we know that guy's about to be dead too.
Yep.
But at this point, Jim gets in his car and is just like, I just got to drive. There's nothing I can do. Like, I tried to warn the truck guy. I tried to warn these guys. I should just be glad that I'm escaping with my life.
He's like, I got to get the fuck out of Texas.
I got to get the fuck out of Texas. As he's driving, he gets rear-ended by the truck.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, Rutger Hauer's driving it. He's already killed the other guy and doubled back on side roads because it's Texas, there's frontage roads. And so that's how he has managed to get behind Jim to rear end him.
Yeah, he just teleports. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think this is possible because of frontage roads. I think without frontage roads, it's not possible.
Sure,
But we see that there are them. So, whatever.
Yeah.
So he drives, rear ends him, and then drives away on a side road, basically leaving him to die. But it's almost like tippity tap. Tag, you're it.
It is very much a tag because he does slam into the back of him.
He does, and then drives off. And so at this point, now Jim drives that car to what looks like a not abandoned gas station. It does turn out to be abandoned, except the payphone is unlocked. And so he can, the payphone is locked. He's trying to get into it.
Well, he's trying to get into the actual station because the whole station's locked.
Right.
I don't think it's abandoned. And I do think it's Rutger Hauer's. I don't know. But he had keys to get into the garage and close the garage up.
I think he just murdered the people there.
How? He had 3 minutes to do that, maybe.
I think he has more because he runs Jim off the road, right? So it takes Jim a second to kind of get his bearings, get the car started again.
Okay.
Get back on the road.
But how much? Okay. That seems like still very, very fast.
But he's not speeding, remember? Because it's somebody else's car, which we will find out later. We haven't found that out yet, but.
Yeah.
Or I guess we kind of did. He talked to Rutger Hauer. Somebody bought this car in Chicago. He's driving it to San Diego for them.
Yeah.
So for most of the ride, he's keeping it at 50. Later, he will speed. But Rutger Hauer is speeding.
Honestly, at this point, I'd speed anyway because he's already wrecked it. That car he is driving from Chicago to San Diego,
yes.
a 30-hour drive. is already wrecked.
Yeah.
Like the back bumper got smashed up by that the bus or whatever, right? And the side.
It's the front bumper got the side of the bus and like it
messes it up pretty bad.
Yes.
I mean, it's still drivable, but it messes it up.
It messes it up. And it does take him a second or two to get this, driving. Now, here's the thing. That gives Rutger Hauer what? Let's call it 10 minutes max.
Yeah. To take control of a gas station and then kill the people there. I'd admit he could probably do that very quickly. He's Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
But he would then have to find the keys, go to the garage, pull his truck into the garage, close the thing, turn it on, and wait. Just wait while that garage is the setting for him to play the most dangerous gambit ever. And that is, will my target arrive before this closed and locked garage fills with enough carbon monoxide to kill me as a person? That's the reason I thought, he doesn't really exist, because if he was actually in a garage that was closed like that, waiting for this guy like a fucking shark, and I'll admit it's awesome, but he'd be dead.
I think the truck's not on until he goes inside to check the payphone.
He would have heard it turn on. I mean, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, I don't really care because it creates this cool, honestly, shark chasing you beat where it's just my God, he could be anywhere, always hunting you, finding you at any time. Yeah.
This is his hunting ground.
Yes,
he knows these roads. Yeah.
So I'm not complaining because it's not awesome. It is awesome.
Right. It is
and when
awesome.
he blows through the garage door, if you don't believe, I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he runs over a fucking gas pump.
He runs over a gas pump, creating a puddle of gas.
Yes. And then he
and creating the beginning of Zoolander. Yes.
Yes, because he lights a match, one of those strike anywhere matches, the wood ones, on his mirror, and then throws it and then floors it in reverse as Jim is running to the car, getting in the car and driving away. And then Jim drives away and remind you, the
car is on fire.
Yeah, the car's on fire. The car that has already been wrecked, and someone paid a shitload of money just for him to drive it from Chicago to San Diego. A 30-hour drive, guys.
I do think this movie takes place over a little over 30 hours.
Me too. If you see it, it starts at night.
Yeah.
And it ends, I believe, that following morning. Not the morning where, we realize that, oh, God, the Hitcher's a violent criminal. And he, when he first pushes him out of the car, that's the morning.
That's the morning.
And then I think it goes to the next morning, which is about 30 hours. That's the reason I keep pointing it out.
Yeah.
I think it's about 30 hours. Now, I don't think he's driving that full distance. We clearly don't start in Chicago.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting that that's how long the movie takes place in movie time.
Yeah, I think it's detail oriented. It's something I appreciate when movies really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
But, so he drives away. The car is on fire. Meanwhile, we cut to a girl getting off a bus at a bus stop and opening an empty restaurant at a gas station. This is her job, one would assume. Her name is Nash. And he runs up and is like, please, I need a phone. She's like, you smell like gasoline.
And he's like, yeah, I do. Can I use your phone?
Yeah. I got to call the cops. And she's just like, okay.
And she's like, well, I mean, what's going on? And he's like, it would take me too long to explain.
Right.
Just say, and then she's like, okay, well, you can use the phone. So she lets him in, unlocks the door, and then locks it back. And then as he's walking to go use the phone, she goes, were you in an accident? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, that's all you had to say.
That's all you had to say.
Just say, hey, ma'am, I was in an accident. Do you mind if I use your phone? I smell like gas because I was in an accident.
Yeah.
Just don't be an idiot. But also, he's been through a lot, Paige. Maybe we should forgive him. Yeah.
He's been through a lot.
He's juggling with his internal Rutger Hauer. I get it. We've all been there.
Exactly. But he gets on the phone. And I do think that part of the reason they don't do a Tyler Durden is because we're supposed to take Jim from inactive to active on the story circle of
I agree, yes.
Being the opposite of Rutger Hauer to then becoming Rutger Hauer.
Yes.
Anyway, so he gets on the phone to the cops and is like, I know who killed those people. I know who blew up the gas station. He's been after me all morning. I'm at the Longhorn restaurant. Come get me. Come, I will tell you everything. Just please come here. And he's like, okay. He changes. He comes out. And at this point I was like, we got to be halfway through the movie, right? No,
we're 20 minutes in, Paige.
26 minutes into this film.
It's crazy. And I'll say this, I did complain about there being multiple gas stations at the very beginning. It all happens so fast.
So fast.
It doesn't feel like a super double beat. you know?
Yeah.
Because one of the gas stations is more like a challenge, like, hey, I'm going to keep killing people unless you come and get me, you know?
Right.
And that's the one where Rutger Hauer throws the keys at him. And then immediately we're at another gas station, and that's where the shark exchange happens, where it comes out of the garage.
Right.
So, but all that happens within 3 minutes. So it's not like it's a pacing problem. It's just he's traveling and he's killing people as he travels. You know, it's nuts. It's honestly like it's a very cool premise, especially at this time.
Yes.
Like before cell phones, and like if someone got in a car and were gone, they were gone.
Yes. With cell phones, this movie unravels immediately. But yes, in this era, they're gone. They have no identification for Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
No one knows who he is. And people could just do that and fucking disappear. Like,
in order for that to work today with like today's technology, they'd have to be driving like a Faraday car. Like, there's no way for that to exist now because cars are chipped, your phones are chipped. Like, it's crazy.
So I was driving Jake's car most of the weekend because
it's not chipped.
It is untraceable. It's not chipped.
I was going to say, I don't blame you at all, and I know exactly why.
Yes.
Natalie and I took an Uber to the protest.
There you go. But I had my dad with me for a show that I was doing over the weekend. Just happened to have Jake's car so I could pick him at the airport or whatever. And my dad was like, great, we could plug the... and realized there was no way to put GPS in and that the phones didn't connect to it or anything. And he's like,
do you have that thing that's like a tape deck you put in your tape and then you plug it in your phone? Yeah.
He asked me about that because there is a cassette player in Jake's car.
Yeah, I know that because you brought it up before. But yeah. I remember when I was a kid, people used to have those like tape adapters. Like it would like a tape would go in and then it would plug into your phone or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, why don't you guys have a tape adapter? Because we have like a Bluetooth thing.
Well, that's of course what you would do nowadays. Yeah.
Right.
100%.
I was like, Dad, where do you think that you would get a cassette adapter in Beyonce's America 2025? Like this.
She's so bored with the kind of music she was doing. Now she's doing country.
It's all cassettes.
That is some real protagonist from Hitcher vibes. Like, I've killed so many people, I'm going to try and just like do something new and like let this guy have a hella heads up. I'm going to provide him with bullets at the end. Like, I'm going to make it a challenge for me. And I do think that's the kind of energy Beyonce took into that country album.
Love it.
Having heard none of it.
Oh, it's so good. That's the one I saw live because I saw Cowboy Carter live.
I don't believe you because it's a country album. I listen to Beyonce's plethora of music. I think she's great. Haven't heard a stitch of that.
It's good.
Yeah.
But bring back cassettes is all I'm saying.
Honestly, Beyonce, if you were brave, do a punk album.
I think that's what she's doing next, actually.
Yes. That's honestly, she has a very punk energy about her when she's like angry about something in a song.
Yes.
And I'm into it. Great.
That is the rumor because so Renaissance was like the house dance music album.
Yeah.
Cowboy Carter's the Western album, which has the theme for Cowboy Carter is Western and country music is my heritage too, and America is mine too, and white people can't fucking take that from me.
Love that energy. Great.
Love that energy. And then allegedly the last one of the three is gonna be a rock album.
Oh, it's rock? Okay. I mean, rock is fine. That'll be cool. I'm sure she'll do that good, and I'll listen to that.
And I don't know if it'll be punk or regular rock. I don't know because it's still up in the air. We'll see. But I'll be excited for it.
I would love it if Beyonce became the new Rage Against the Machine. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I've been listening.
I just want that kind of like music and like just, that would be amazing.
I don't know if you know how hard Rage Against the Machine goes in a 2000 white Honda CRV with no chips in it, but it go pretty hard.
Paige, I've been listening to a lot, and I realized Rage Against the Machine is just like funk, punk, and I'm here for it.
Oh, those guitar and bass lines?
Yes.
Unfuckwithable. So good. Like, if you think that you're not going to scream along to just, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Like, you will. It's great.
Oh, man.
It cracks me up whenever conservatives are super into Rage Against the Machine. And I'm like, who did you think the Machine was? Like,
they were like, my parents.
With new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. So after a long day, buy a double cheeseburger and add a McChicken for $1. Because saving with deals is always on the menu with new McValue.
Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Craving your next action-packed adventure? Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, like Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, where a lone astronaut must save humanity from extinction, narrated with stunning intensity by Ray Porter. From electrifying suspense and daring quest to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms, unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that'll keep you guessing. Discover exclusive Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute. Because Audible knows there's no greater thrill than the one that speaks to you. Discover what lies beyond the edge of your seat. Start your free 30-day trial at audible.com/WonderyUS. That's audible.com/WonderyUS.
Anyway, we don't have to talk about Rage Against the Machine, but let's just say super into it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I haven't been super into them in probably like 3 years. Because when I got super into the business plot in Prescott Bush a few years ago, it got real for me.
You got real
and I had
into
to
Rage Against
step
the
away
Machine?
because I was like, oh shit, this is the blueprint for now in the 30s from Bush's dad?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
With a pocket full of shells.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, on my skateboard around my neighborhood. Like, that's a normal thing for an old man to do. Like, no. You better not catch me in these streets, Paige, because I will. Normally, I'm listening to, like, Bruno Mars.
Silk Sonic.
Yeah, it's like Silk Sonic. No joke. It's Silk Sonic. And I'm just literally dancing around my neighborhood while I'm riding my skateboard like a maniacal idiot.
I mean, my favorite thing about Rage Against the Machine is whenever dictators or Republican senators are like, I love Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello's like, keep my name out your fucking mouth.
I love how he'll be like, no, fuck you. I hate you.
Fuck
Eat
you.
a dick.
You're the machine. Damn it.
He will like call them out on social media, and it's the best. I love when he'll
so
like
good.
retweet somebody who is like has the wrong take about Rage's beliefs politically, and it'll be like some rando Calrissian online, and he'll like reshare it and just like trash them. It's amazing.
So good. So good. I fucks with that energy hard.
Bring that shit in. Oh, the bomb track is amazing. Sorry, we got to stop talking about Rage Against the Machine. Woo! Sorry. Paige and I just both went to a protest yesterday, so at different places.
Yeah.
Yours is a little bit bigger, but I'm actually really proud of Nashville's turnout.
Yeah, I was proud of Nashville's turnout. Shit.
It was like, no joke, 15,000 or so people. Oh, Paige, there were so many people there that Natalie and I were there. We had to walk up a street to sort of get around to where we were trying to get to in the protest. And we were to a point where you could drive up to it and you would not have seen really anybody protesting because we were like a street or two up. We saw a guy on a motorcycle, vest, jeans, probably a shirt, but one of those that make you look real smart.
Yeah.
And on his motorcycle turned up the song Ice Ice Baby and started to turned the corner to where he could see the number of people that were lining the streets and how long it went. And he immediately turned it all the way down.
That is a song that they've been playing to keep ICE awake at the hotels in Los Angeles.
I mean, that's awesome. But this guy was clearly pro-ICE. Yeah, if you catch my drift.
This leads me, and I know we're off track, but this movie is going to go fast because we've already blown through a third of it. Okay, so
Paige, we got here through Beyonce. Just a heads up on that. I don't know how that happened, but please continue.
One of my favorite things that has happened in the recent protests is that veterans who are in motorcycle gangs have been riding to Los Angeles to then defend the citizens. And I don't know how they all got TikTok accounts, but they've all been like shooting promo videos for it. And I was trying to explain this to my dad. He's like, you should talk about this on stage. I'm like, I don't think it'll work on stage, but I think I can tell you and we will have fun about it.
Yeah.
Because it's all like 40s to 50s dudes. And it's like, we swore an oath to protect our country against enemies. Okay, except that the boys are back in town.
Oh, hell yeah. Give me some Thurgood. I love it. Heck yeah.
And it's just them like putting on their cuts, the vest, and then driving motorcycles down the road. And they're just like, we're coming, Los Angeles. Like, you called, we answered. The boys are back in town. The boys. It's my favorite thing.
I love it.
I can't stop watching them. But yeah, we've been playing Ice Ice Baby outside hotels to keep Ice awake at night. And also all the local mariachi bands, thank you for your service.
I did hear about that, which I love. I love that. I love it for two reasons, Paige, because I know every ICE member is struggling to sleep because mariachi music slaps. And they're also like really focusing on height to instrument size ratio amongst the mariachi players. And they're very confused by it because they haven't heard about my mariachi paradox.
They haven't heard about the paradox yet. But yeah, look, the protest yesterday, fantastic turnout. So excited to see everybody.
Thank you guys if you went and showed up. Seriously, thank you.
We gonna keep fucking with ICE till they leave though. So the war's not over. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of Los Angeles.
My favorite thing to watch last night when I got back from the emergency vet was the video of Trump's birthday parade.
Oh, the parade.
And just hearing the tank wheels squeak because you couldn't hear anybody else.
The silence with the squeaking.
And there were people there, but it was like a very small amount compared.
There was a very small amount. I will not be surprised if somebody comes out and they're like, we doctored the audio for hilarity, and that's fine. But like, if it's not doctored,
I hope it's doctored.
God.
I really do.
Oh my God.
I was like, man, this is what it looks like when your emperor has no clothes.
No clothes.
And I don't mean that literally. If you don't get the reference, that's on you. But man, it was so funny. Anyway,
crazy.
Everyone's fine, by the way. Shnooka is fine.
Yeah, we're safe. We're trying to make sure our neighbors stay safe.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so we're not even 30 minutes into this movie because it is breakneck speed.
Yeah.
But he comes out. She's made him a burger and fries. And she's like, hey, the cops won't be here too fast because there's fucking nothing around here or whatever. But they do show up pretty fast, almost immediately.
Paige, before we go to the cops doing what they do and arresting the wrong person by putting their knee on their neck.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Can I ask you a few questions about Nash?
Yes. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
First off, gotta be her last name. Nash is her last name, right? You would assume?
I think so. Yes, I would assume.
Unless her name is Nashley and they just call her Nash for short. But listen, Nashley must super be in to C. Thomas Riley.
C. Thomas Howell?
C. Thomas, yeah, C. Thomas Howell, sorry.
Yes.
She must super be into C. Thomas Howell because she makes him a burger. Like, all she had to do was let him use the phone.
Right.
I think she wants to smash from Jump Street. That's all I'm saying.
I mean.
Because why would you make a dude food in this situation? It is super kind. I'm not saying like...
He's her Kyle Reese.
I think so too. He came in dirty, definitely got poop in his pants, and now smells like gasoline, Paige.
He does shower though.
Eventually, not right now. This man smells like a shit took a shit. Just used your phone and now you cook him. And listen, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a very kind thing.
I get where she's coming from.
As
someone as pro Kyle Reese, I understand.
Yeah, I'm not judging her for wanting to smash. I'm just saying, Paige, at this point, I think she already kind of wants to smash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring this up is because later she holds a gun on someone who is the sheriff, but she refers to as like Lyle or somebody.
Yeah,
like
she
knows his
him.
name. So like she turns on someone she knows by name for this guy.
Yes.
So I think she already wants to smash.
I don't know. I had a theory that her dad is in law enforcement and that's how they get there so fast because she calls him.
So she knows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think. I can't prove that on screen, but.
Terrible take, Paige. Here's a terrible take. You ready for it? Lyle's her dad.
That is very possible.
And they had a falling out, and she calls him Lyle just to, like, dig at him, you know? Yeah, okay.
If that's possible, that's not who she's calling, though, because Lyle does die.
Yeah, he dials, for sure. Yeah, it happens.
He dials. But that, to me, is my explanation for how the police got there fast, is that either he's a cop, a retired cop, or best friends with the cops.
Yeah.
But the movie is not clear any which way. Anyway, they have a real kind of fun meet cute here where he's telling her he's driving to San Diego and she's like, I thought about going there. And she's like, we're all from Mars out here. We got spaceships out back, which like, depending on where you driving, just saying.
I mean, people do be getting taken out there, you know?
Yeah. But he gets through some of his fries. He's eating the fries, and oh no,
Paige.
He discovers it's a Wendy's because there's a finger in his
Paige,
food.
I wrote this. Oh my God. Okay. Well done. I loved it. Love the joke. Also, Paige, the grossest thing in this movie is in this scene. It's that he eats fries with no condiments.
I've done that if the fries are really good. It's not my chosen method, but like if the fries are good.
And honestly, listen, I like ketchup. It's fine. That's my go-to condiment typically. But like if you're at a restaurant and you get fries, I'll occasionally like ask for, what other sauces do you guys have?
Sure.
And I'll just be dipping around. Like one of my friends at work, Jeff, taught me that trick. And it's like great. Like we've had fries with like aioli sauce and just like weird shit that like you wouldn't think they have, but they have for other dishes. I love it.
My thing now, because I had it at this restaurant in Cincinnati and it was fucking incredible, is they serve their fries with béarnaise sauce.
Ooh, okay.
And then I went to a French restaurant and got steak frites and they had béarnaise sauce as well. And boy, I licked that béarnaise sauce clean. It was so good.
It's always good.
Yeah. I am a multi-condiment fry connoisseur. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, ketchup's the go-to. I'm not dissing ketchup, but
I fucking love me some ketchup,
it's great.
though, especially if you've got like homemade ketchup. Although my favorite is homemade ranch. If your restaurant makes their own ranch, give me a bucket of it.
I've definitely gotten some homemade ranch to dip fries in a restaurant, and it was fire. For sure.
I was never a ranch with pizza person until recently, but only when the ranch is good.
I mean, that's how I feel about ranch all the time. Like, I'm here for ranch if it's good.
Yeah.
Although, I'll be honest with you, for salads, Caesar guy. I'm a Caesar guy.
Interesting. I'm a blue cheese lady.
I could see that. Listen, I like blue cheese too. I'm not dissing it. I just can't turn down a dressing named after the first and perhaps only definitive victim of the fashion police.
Sure. Absolutely. But do you call it Cesare dressing for fun?
I love that to get my joke, you would have had to know that he got murdered because he wore purple publicly.
Yes.
And to get your joke, you would have had to listen to one of our most recent episodes. I can't remember which one, though.
It was Bound.
That's what it was. Yes. I knew it was on RTP.
On Romancing the Pop.
That's right.
Or you would have had to have been super into the Borgias. Anyway.
And I was.
There you go.
Love that show.
So he's like, oh God, finger. And he like, Wendy's.
Yes. Okay. So I don't think we ever said it. There's a finger in his food, guys. So how did Rutger Hauer do that? Or did she do it?
No.
Was she like, use it on me?
Use it.
Oh, Paige. I was not expecting you to like, yes, and my gross. I mean, very funny. And I'm sure the listeners loved it. But like, okay, that was great.
It vibrates if you shake the plate. But so I think that, because remember that car caught on fire?
Yes.
We don't really see the car at this rest stop. So my assumption is that he has had to abandon the car on the way here and walk the rest of the way.
I assumed he ditched it shortly after we saw it drive out of shot because it was fully on fire.
On fire,
Yeah.
right? Which means Rutger Hauer's had a lot of time because he was not on fire.
Right.
And I also think that he's benefiting from the fact that this is a straight shot and you can kind of only go to the stuff that's along this highway, right?
Yeah.
And so he knows that whatever the next stop is, he's going to stop there. And we know that she didn't open the restaurant until like right before he got there. So my thinking is Rutger Hauer is broken into that restaurant that probably doesn't have an alarm because it's 86. I think he's broken into that restaurant and has been waiting for whoever to show up. And he doesn't really care about her. I think he would have killed her had C. Thomas Howell not showed up.
I mean, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Like him showing up within seconds of her opening the restaurant probably saved her life. Because now he's like, that's who I'm going for.
Yeah, you're welcome, Nash.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the family's fingers, somebody else's finger. Like,
honestly, at this point, dude could have probably upwards of 90 fingers.
He could have sold him an entire basket of fingers, like instead of fries.
What if when he picked up the fry and instead of screaming, he like looked up and Rutger Hauer like stood up from behind the counter wearing a necklace of fingers, just like hanging down.
Or just like lifting a fry basket full of fingers.
A whole fucking fry basket would be amazing.
Chicken fingers are fresh, you know, whatever.
Just like steaming. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
gross.
yeah,
You ever been to a county fair and had a fried finger, guys? The bones turned to like this Twinkie type texture.
Get it out of my brain. I was like, it's real sweet and melty. I prefer the fried Oreos personally. That's my favorite.
Me too. Yeah, they're less cannibalistic, but
I do like the fried Twinkies, but you know, the Oreos, there's something about the center of an Oreo when you fry it. Anyway.
yeah, agree.
So he runs out, C. Thomas Howell runs outside and is like, oh my God, Wendy's. And they like put him on the hood of the car because the cops roll up and they're like, clearly this is the murder guy. And he's got the bloody knife because it was in his jacket. because Rutger Hauer put it there.
Well, I mean, we know Rutger Hauer's in the building because the finger,
Right.
you know.
Because of the finger.
So, like, I do think Paige, and I should just go ahead and admit this, like, I have sort of been looking at this movie as like, well, he can just sort of like appear anywhere and like whatever. It's not plausible, but it's fine because it's like a slasher trope. And I do think you've given like pretty plausible reasons as to how he could have done it.
Yes.
So like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that we're doing this game of like, is this plausible? And Paige is like
Yes.
bringing the heat for that. So keep doing it.
Sure. It's because I harp on that in movies all the time.
I know. So do I. Yeah.
So as I was watching this, I was like, how does this happen? You know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's then yelling at the cops. See, Thomas Howell is, because he's like, he's still in there. And I think in his mind, he's like, he's going to kill that girl. Like, he's still in there. And I think he honestly probably thinks she's dead for the rest of the movie.
I would assume so. But he's very much like Shaggy, like, hey, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
He killed the family in the sedan. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Eating burgers on the counter. It wasn't me. With a fry and a finger. It wasn't me. Yeah. Anyway, so they take him in to the police station. Now, one of the cops, like once they get to the station, not one of the arresting cops, but one of the cops in the station is like, this kid's not a killer. Like, this is clearly not who we're looking for.
Right.
But they're like, but we have him, so we're putting him in the cell.
He's the one that makes it like excusable for them to stop doing their job.
Right.
So they're like, oh, it was just this guy because he was the guy we had in our custody when we heard about the crime.
100%.
It's fine. These guys get murdered in like a second.
But they're clearly going to try and make him the murderer. Like,
yes.
He's the one we have, so we're going to look for evidence that makes him the murderer. This is a huge problem with murder investigations in general, where people will have a suspect and then it will skew the investigation process because they're looking to try and prove that person is a suspect as opposed to just looking for evidence within the case.
Right. Now, I will say these cops did find the murder weapon on this guy. So
sure.
They do have some evidence.
Sure.
But we know it's not him, so we hate them from Jump Street.
We know it's not him, and his story explains how it got there, but also, and the one cop does believe him, but is like, let's just keep him here, that way he's safe, and also we'll get a phone call back from the people we've called that will basically give him an alibi and we can let him go. But in the interim, he's got nightmares. And by the time he wakes up from his nightmares, the cell is open. And I was like, oh no, it's Terminator, because the phone is ringing. No one's answering. The police dog is just walking around. He walks into the bullpen where all the officers were, and everyone is dead.
Yeah.
Now, here's something that I have thought about a lot. And it is because there's the guy who said he was innocent is dead. The other cop that arrested him is dead. And then there's one cop who clearly tried to get a shot off.
Yeah.
And he is dead. Now, we reveal later in the movie, because Jim picks this gun up and runs with it. Because literally, as he's waking up, other cops are pulling up and he's the only one alive in the police station with a gun now.
Well, I mean, but the guys in the police station, the cops who have been killed, clearly were like killed with a knife.
Right.
But yes, they would assume that Jim killed all of these guys and threw the knife out the window and it's somewhere, you know, like we'll find it. But this guy definitely killed them, you know?
Right. And so he runs off with the gun. Now, because the gun is empty and we get the bullets for the gun later and we get all 6, I think that guy didn't get a shot off.
He didn't. Well, I don't think he did. Here's what I think happened. He pulled it. It was in his hand when Rutger Hauer killed him.
Yeah.
And he may have been the last one, so he had a little bit of time. And so he took the gun, took the bullets out of it, and left the gun and put it back where it was, more or less, for this guy to find it.
Or staged it to make it look like...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it may have just been in his holster. You're right.
Yeah, either way. But what we know, well, we don't know it yet. Neither's Jim. That gun is empty. But he goes running out into the desert, manages to escape the group of cops, and gets to another gas station.
Yes, because that's like all that there is on these roads. Like I've driven this before, actually drove from San Diego to Nashville twice. It was brutal, but this stretch is pretty much this.
Yeah.
You know, I actually kind of like, and I'm sure it was called Longhorn because they want to like code it as Texas. But like in my mind, my headcanon was this is the very first Longhorn Steakhouse.
Oh, shit.
It's not, but like I wanted it to be that. Anyway, but like, that's all there is out there.
That is all there is. Now, he gets to a payphone just as cops pull up to question that gas station.
Yeah.
They don't know it's him. Like, he kind of gives himself away in this moment, but he pulls the gun. He hijacks the police car with these two cops with what we will find out is an empty gun. And he gets them to head for the highway and call on the radio their captain. And he's like, I promise I am not this guy, but I don't have identification. Please listen to me. I want to help you find him. Like, please. And the captain on the radio is like, okay, well, come in and we'll talk to you. Like, I promise to get you heard or whatever. But as they make that deal, the Hitcher pulls up next to them and shoots them. I think he was waiting at the rest stop and just followed the cops out.
I thought it was hilarious that in the moment he says, okay, I'll turn myself in. You see in that same shot, Rutger Hauer pull up in the truck and just shoot the two cops that are driving. I was like, oh my God. And it was this moment where I was like, oh, they're doing a Fight Club for sure. Because that would be like Jim realizing he's got to turn himself in because he's done all these bad things.
Yeah.
And the evil Jim, like coming up as Rutger Hauer and killing those cops so he doesn't do it.
Right. And again, if you're doing a Fight Club, yes. If you're doing a shark versus prey, also works because we see Rutger Hauer do what I think he does in this scene later, which is he knows that the next stop is going to be where Jim goes because he's on foot. He's got nothing. Like, that's his only option. And so we see him do it at another rest stop where he just waits for him. He just like waits and then pulls out and follows.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what he did here and shot the cops. Anyway, so he manages to like get the cop car into a ditch to stop. And he's going to try and shoot himself, but he doesn't, which is how he doesn't find out that there's no bullets in the gun. He does a dust-faced waterfall.
Oh, can I say this about the bullets in the gun, Paige?
Yes.
It's a revolver.
Yes.
If he looked at the gun, he'd see there were no bullets in them because the barrel of the gun spins in it. And so when one bullet's in the chamber, you can see like 2 or 3 of the other bullets that are just like in the gun because they're just in the chamber that spins.
Yeah. I think, well, and when he goes to load the gun and doesn't know how and doesn't understand how, I think he's never used one. He has no idea.
Oh, so he never watched a TV as a child? Like you wouldn't, like you, Paige, if I handed you a revolver, you'd figure it out. Like
eventually, yeah.
You would definitely figure. It's not like difficult.
But I've never used one, never held one.
I am sure that like if you looked at it, you would be like, oh, there are no bullets. I might want to add a bullet. But like, listen, at this point, Paige, I'm glad he didn't have any bullets because at one point he's like going to like walk in somewhere and he sticks the gun in the front of his pants.
Yeah.
And then hides it, which I don't understand. I would definitely go back, like put it in like my back, like right where my belt loop is, than the front. Because if it goes off, I'd rather shoot my own ass than my dick.
I mean, I would too. I think I'd go between the titties, maybe. I think I could hide a tiny gun under one titty.
So if it goes off, it just shoots the person next to you?
That's what's up.
It's a foolproof plan, Paige.
Yeah. I just make sure I'm standing next to whoever I want to shoot.
Guys, go back and check any photos of Paige and I together. You'll see I'm either standing slightly up in front of her or slightly behind her. And that's because those titties be packing.
Yes. So many things. Extra chapstick, maybe some extra money, a gun, gold bullion.
I think you mean bullion, Paige?
Yes, I do. Anyway, he walks to a cafe, and I was like, you could have taken the cop car, but I think it's conspicuous at that point, and he's trying to, not get detected.
Yeah, he's on the run from the cops. I think just driving around in a cop car fitting the exact description of the guy they're looking for is not a great idea.
No fun. But at this point, there's still more than a half hour left of this movie, and you're like, what is going to happen? Because he sits down to have coffee, and who should sit across from him? Rutger Hauer.
Out of nowhere.
And he threatens to shoot him, but he doesn't have any bullets in the gun. And Rutger Hauer doesn't have a gun either, but pretends he does and bangs on the table, which makes Jim try to get off a bunch of shots, revealing that the gun is empty.
Also, Paige, Jim says to him, I'll blow your brains through your ass, which, like, I get that Jim is probably mid-20s.
Sure.
But does he actually have a brain in his dick? Like, why would he think that that's where your brains would go if you shot him in it? Like, the gun's under the table, dick level.
I mean, for a mid-20s guy, that is where his brains is mostly.
I mean, so there you go.
I would hope at the end of this movie, he does blow his brains through his butt. That seems fun.
Well, it would be a different angle. I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun to see. That's a different angle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll make you. I'll shoot you so hard you'll shit your brains out.
There you go.
Love it.
That could happen.
I would watch that.
But in this moment, he takes 2 pennies and sticks them on his eyes. And he's like, you're a smart kid. You'll figure the game out, which implies like, I'm going to kill you. Not right now, but I'm gonna kill you. I'm hunting you, and I'm gonna kill you.
It's very much like the you'll have to kill me or I will kill you.
Yes.
But I'm gonna hunt you for a while first.
Yeah.
Here are the bullets. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Most dangerous game. But so he goes outside and sees a bus has pulled up. He gets on the bus, hides in the bathroom, loads the gun. Now, the bus takes off, and this is where Rutger Hauer waited for him and watched and follows in the truck.
Yeah.
Now, he sneaks out of the bathroom on the bus only to find that Nash is on the bus, I assume going home from her shift.
Yeah, probably.
At this point. But he kind of corners her in the bathroom and he's like, I'm not a killer. He tried to kill me. He's been following me all morning, but now I'm on the run. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she's like, okay.
Paige, can I just say this?
Yeah.
She gets up just to go to the bathroom. And she's like on her way into the bathroom, and he like busts in on her and like holds her at gunpoint initially in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like he's about to like, and listen, I think she'd be down, but like they're about to join the 0.1 mile high club.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. And then he does explain very quickly like what is actually happening if the movie is 2 people and not Jim being Tyler Durden.
Right.
And it's not. So like she, from this moment, is like, I believe this man.
Yes.
I will follow him anywhere just because I want to smash. I really hope this dude splits me in half. And he doesn't, but she does get split in half.
Yes. Not the way you'd think, though.
No, not in the fun way.
No. Ooh, the 2007 version is Sean Bean and Sophia Bush.
2007?
Yeah.
Nah, probably wasn't much Bush back then.
Anyway.
Except for the one in the White House.
They pop out of the bathroom and they're kind of sitting in the back of the bus and he's kind of hiding, but then the cops pull up beside the bus and pull the bus over.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to turn myself in because I think he also was like, look, I could be in police custody and safe, or I could just get killed by this guy. Like either way I'm in trouble, but the cops might keep me safe.
I think he does have a good chance with the cops, even if he is in jail, of staying safe from this person who literally just told him, I am coming to kill you. And I would assume like if I was Jim, for Rutger Hauer, that was very much the here are your bullets. The game starts now.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would assume it's on site next time I see Rutger Hauer, either he dies or I die.
Yes.
So that might be the best case scenario is you getting thrown in jail and Rutger Hauer showing up to the police station to try and kill you and him getting killed, you know? Because then you have like some plausible deniability about who was actually doing the stuff and he died or whatever. So like, yeah, but that doesn't happen because, you know, it's the Hitcher.
Right. So he throws the gun out. He comes out with his hands up.
Yeah.
However, Nash comes out, picks up the gun, and fires because they're clearly not going to arrest him. That sheriff is going to shoot him on sight.
Yeah. You mean Lyle?
Yeah, Lyle.
Lyle, who was betrayed by his friend Nash.
Right.
Just because she wants to smash, she could be the mother of the future, Paige.
She could be the mother of the future, I'm just saying.
There is a reading where she doesn't die in this movie.
Yes, I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think it's accurate either.
I think it's pretty obvious she dies. I think she dies.
Okay, so let me ask, did yours fade to black before you saw it? You didn't see anything, right?
Yes, you don't see anything.
Okay.
I don't think they could do it practically with effect. There's a lot of implied gore in this movie because I don't think they had the ability to do it convincingly. And I think they were very smart about what they showed and what they did not.
Me too. Yeah, because that scene is very tense and scary, but it's not, I'm sure she was not in any danger at any point, you know?
Right.
Because like when her arms are like locked in, her feet aren't,
right?
You know, or vice versa, you know? But the only way you can read it where she got away is like the cops, I don't know, did their job. And while Jim was in there talking down the perp or whatever, they were like just cutting the rope or whatever that was holding her in place. And as it started to drive away, like she fell off of it because she was like laying sort of on the back of it. But they don't show her ever again. And you do hear her scream. So she probably definitely is dead.
Yes. Anyway. So she and Jim commandeer a cop car, and now they're trying to use the radio and be like, hey, we're going to turn ourselves in. Just let us get to the next station in Riley or whatever. They are not. Those cops are going to murder them because they're driving literally 2 across the freeway, shooting at them.
It was like shotguns, blowing out their windows, blowing out their mirrors, like shoots dudes like door off, more or less.
Yeah.
Like he like goes from driving a police cruiser to a police Jeep kind of because his door's gone.
Yes. And she drops the gun. He's like, shoot at their tires. She accidentally drops the gun. So now they are sitting ducks. So he brakes and allows the 2 cop cars to hit each other, flipping them, murdering everybody inside. And then he drives manslaughtering everybody inside.
Yeah, I don't know. I struggle with the word murder because like he just slammed on the brakes and
self-defense.
Then
yeah.
One cop shoots the other and those 2 cops wreck and they die. Like they kind of kill themselves in a way. And I think the movie does this on purpose to absolve Jim of any wrongdoing, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because they never shoot at cops, which I thought was interesting because she like
they don't
tries to or, you know, puts the gun out the window and sort of drops it.
Yes. But so they drive past. And as they do, they realize there's a helicopter coming up the highway at them. But who should shoot that helicopter down? The fucking Hitcher. From the side, because it's like, no, this is my game. I get to kill him.
Yeah.
So he shoots the helicopter down.
It's the nobody hits my brother but me thing.
And that helicopter crashes and a bunch more cop cars crash into it. It's now like a 6-car plus helicopter pileup. And at this point, they're driving and they're in the clear. And Nash is like, why didn't he kill us? Why didn't he kill us? And at this point, he's still clearly C. Thomas Howell is more scared of the Hitcher.
Yeah.
They pull over and ditch the cop car and get out on foot. And at this point, there's a half hour left in the movie.
I know. I literally paused it and was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's the end of Act 2. But like, I thought that was like I knew it was going to have to get bigger than this.
Right.
So I was excited.
Right.
But I was like, that could have been the end of the movie. Like, it's that much action, if that makes sense.
Right.
And the stunts are amazing. Like
incredible.
It's a really, really well done sequence.
Yes. But they see a truck stop in the distance. And so they walk to the truck stop. We cut to them at the truck stop where Jim is not doing good. Nash is not doing good, but there's great curtains. And Nash is like, why'd you pick him up? Like, can I come sit by you? Like, she's trying to kind of comfort him. She wants to call her dad. He's like, don't call anybody or whatever. But we cut to them asleep. He gets up to take a shower. She pretends to still be asleep, waits till he's in the shower, and then makes a call. Calls her dad, who again, I think must be cop adjacent or whatever.
Yeah. Or connecting to the community on that level.
Something.
Yeah.
But he showers, and as she's on the phone, hanging up the phone, we reveal that the Hitcher is in the room. And so she lays back down, goes to sleep. He lays down next to her in big spoons, but then she freaks out, obviously, because it's not Jim. And then we hear we cut to Jim in the shower, hear the TV on, which is a light switch on the wall.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Nash, she doesn't answer. He immediately runs outside.
Yeah.
And she is gone. So he's running between the trucks.
Yeah, the door was open too. So like gone and like either just left or was taken, right? Like
right.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly how long because the TV is on for a couple minutes. So like they have a head start.
I wouldn't even say a couple minutes, probably 30 seconds, which is a head start. That's enough. You know, he doesn't find them far away. So
right. And he's kind of looking in between trucks and trailers, but the cops are everywhere. So he's also trying to hide. But then the cops grab him and they're like, hey, we're going to need your help. I'm the captain you talked to on the radio. Please come help us.
Yeah.
So he then takes him to where the Hitcher has tied Nash, hands to a trailer, her feet to the cab of a truck. And he's threatening to basically take his foot off the clutch, allowing the truck to roll, which would then rip Nash in half.
Yeah.
And they're like, if we shoot him, he'll take his foot off and she'll die. So can you go in there and talk him down? Which is insane. That would never happen.
They would never do that, ever. I mean, they might have at the time. I have no idea. It was 1986. But they would never do that now. They know not to do that now. Yeah.
Yeah. But so he goes in there and the Hitcher gives him a gun. And he's like, there's bullets in here. You can shoot me.
Do you think there were bullets in the gun? I think there were bullets in the gun. Like, I fully think the Hitcher was like, I think he kind of wanted to die.
I do think the Hitcher is self-destructive, but I also think the Hitcher is trying to demonstrate to him, you don't have the balls to shoot me, even if it means you could save somebody.
I think it means he can't save her. Because if he shoots her, she still gets ripped in half.
She still gets ripped in half.
Because his foot comes off the clutch and it rolls forward.
Yeah.
And literally, she's already like pulled tight.
Taut.
So, taut, honestly, it's a better word for it. So any movement in that direction is going to like at least like paralyze her and then at worst split her in half, which is way more likely.
Well, and the other thing, if you remember from the like literally opening scenes of the movie where he's like, what do you want? And Rutger Hauer is like, I want someone to stop me.
Yeah.
Like that is this. This is him being like, stop me. Try and stop me.
And so Jim doesn't, and he lets his Nash die, I guess. So,
well, yeah, he doesn't shoot him,
Great.
and so Rutger Hauer takes his foot off. Nash dies. They take them all in, and the next thing we cut to is him at the police station where they're like, I'm so sorry, man. Like, is there anything we can do for you?
Yeah, so sorry you killed that girl.
Yeah.
So sorry that you did this.
Yes.
They're very like, I don't know. For cops who just aggressively didn't do their job, they're apologizing to him like it's his fault.
It's wild.
Yeah.
But they're now interrogating John Ryder, the Hitcher, and he's like, can you let me go in there? I have questions. And he goes to like shake his hand and then spits in his face.
Yeah.
And Rutger Hauer wipes it off and like relishes it. It's real creepy.
You're going to hate this. This spit scene is sexier than the one you talked about in Sinners.
Boo, disagree.
You know why?
Disagree.
Because this guy wanted to spit in Rutger Hauer's face, and Rutger Hauer was at least like into it. He was like, all right.
That is true. I do think he was into it.
Yeah. I don't think he was sexually into it. I think he was like, oh, this is going to get me so rock hard when I'm standing over your dead body.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because he's definitely a process killer. He's not a product killer.
He is absolutely a process killer. He doesn't give a shit about the product.
Yeah, this dude does not want your body unless he's, wanting some fries.
I was going to say he gives pieces of his product away for free in baskets of fries and bowls of chili. But no, he is a process killer through and through.
Yeah, I'm a true crime nerd too, Paige. You know that.
I know this.
And listen, I really do love the hidden meaning of Jules' song Pieces of You.
Yeah. She is absolutely a process killer.
Allegedly.
Check the trash bin at her trailer. No. Anyway, so we cut to they're going to put Rutger Hauer on a bus, transport him to jail. Meanwhile, Jim is in the cop car with the captain, and he's like, you'll never hold him. And the captain's like, hey, I realize that there's some weird vibes with y'all, but your job is done. Go on and live your life. Let us handle him. And he's like, no. And so he asks him for a cigarette, grabs the gun instead.
Yeah.
And hijacks that police. Although it's a pretty light hijacking. The captain's like, all right, I'll take you to jail when you're done, basically.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Yep. But meanwhile, on the bus, Rutger Hauer has found a way to, while handcuffed, either get out of the handcuffs, choke somebody with the chain, get a gun. He has commandeered the bus.
They show us, I think, how he does that very subtly. And it's because the cop next to him and him are playing poker on the seat. So it shows us that the police officer is within arm's reach. And of course, his hands are cuffed,
right?
But he can still strangle with handcuffs,
Yeah.
So he definitely kills that guy, gets the gun or probably key and then the gun, and then takes over the bus.
Yep.
I think all that happens so fast that the guy who's driving the bus doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
When Rutger Hauer opens the back of the bus as Jim is driving up to it.
Right, because Jim turns around, he drives up to the bus, Rutger Hauer jumps out the back of the bus through his windshield.
Yes.
And it's old plate glass. It's before safety glass. Into the car. And at this point, he stops the car. He kind of pulls over because now they're grabbing for the gun. He can't really start the car again. Rutger Hauer, he brakes and throws him through the windshield.
It's pretty cool because the windshield's already broken.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
He gets up in the middle of the street. He's got the gun. He's shooting at the car almost like, come at me. Come at me, ho.
He was shooting at that car like he had no regard for how many bullets he had left. That's why I was like, I kind of think he wants to die, or he is at least trying to go out in a dramatic fashion, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And if it's not Jim, it'll be somebody else, when he picks his next plaything or whatever,
Right.
But he shoots at that truck or that car 5 times before Jim gets it started and hits him,
Yeah, because then Jim hits him with the car, launching him down the road. He picks up the gun, He pokes at him, and then he turns, and I was like, he's still alive.
Of course he's still alive.
He's still alive. He stands up, and Jim just turns and shoots him multiple times.
Yeah.
Throws the handcuffs at him, and then walks back to the car. And we get Jim kind of like bracing himself as the sun sets over the cop car. And that's the movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, Paige, tell me what you thought about The Hitcher.
Ooh, I loved it. I think it's perfect. 98 minutes. It's a tight, tense movie. It's filmed really well, even though the transfer is bad. And I do love thinking about your Fight Club version of it, but I actually really do love the existing version.
I think the existing version is amazing too. Please don't let that like Fight Club of it all kind of theory that does get foiled at the end. Like that, it's not that at all, but I would love to see that version of this. Would be pretty great. But I think the movie's really, really, really well done. And I kind of like really dig it. If there ever is another version where I can see the rest of the movie, I would love to see it again in a higher resolution and, you know, on a widescreen format. That would be awesome. It's definitely one of those movies that I would be happy to revisit. And it wasn't hyper scary. It was more tense. And I do better with that than I do with like jump scares. And there was the one garage pop out jump scare, and that did scare me, but it wasn't super scary of a movie. So I would definitely watch this again. But anyway, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Yes, I have a lot of fun facts.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Hitcher fun facts. Rutger Hauer did a lot of his own stunt driving throughout the movie, which amazed the crew and even the real stunt drivers that they did have on staff.
I'm sure they had a ton of stunt people on staff because there are a lot of stunts in this movie.
Yep. C. Thomas Howell admitted that he was actually afraid of Rutger Hauer on and off the set because Rutger Hauer was very intense.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder if he was just one of those dudes because I've never seen him in a movie where he wasn't playing some level of really intense guy.
So the only time I've seen him not playing a level of intense is True Blood, where he plays Sookie's fairy great-grandfather.
I haven't seen that season. I've only seen the first season.
But because it's Rutger Hauer and you don't fully know his motivations, you do suspect him originally, and then it turns out that he's kind of a good guy.
You're like, is he trying to eat her or... No, wait, never mind. They're related. Never mind. It's
the same season in which Robert Patrick plays Alcide, Joe Manganiello's dad. So you've got like two in the same season of like, I don't trust him. Anyway. He was so intense and so into doing his own stunts that Rutger Hauer knocked out one of his teeth with the shotgun he was holding when he went through the windshield because he went through that windshield.
Good God.
Yeah.
They don't make them like that anymore. And honestly,
I know.
Don't do that, guys.
Don't do it.
You don't have to, that's so impressive. Like, that's so cool.
Stunts can get Oscars next year. So, let the stunt people do.
But can we also give it to this guy for this scene, for this one thing? Like, good God.
Okay, but it almost wasn't this guy. Rutger Hauer was their second choice.
To who?
Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott was originally cast as the Hitcher.
I mean, I think it would be different, but still good.
Apparently, according to people who saw the audition, he was so scary that they were all afraid to go to their cars afterwards, but had a scheduling conflict and had to back out.
Oh, man. I mean, he's great. So, I bet he would do great. But I think Rutger's amazing in this.
Rutger's amazing. I'm really curious as for scary Sam Elliott. I'm very curious about what that would have been like.
Same.
The original script for this movie was long enough to make a 3-hour movie. So some scenes that got cut, and I'm glad they didn't. At 98 minutes, this is tense and perfect.
No, we don't need this to be the runtime of Return of the King.
No, we don't. But in the original 3-hour version, and it only in script version, once they made it to shooting.
They didn't shoot the full 3 hours.
No.
There's not a 3-hour cut of this somewhere.
No.
Well, there is, Paige, but in the scenes that were removed when they shot this, it's the guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia doing it.
Right.
Switching roles
halfway through. It included John Ryder's character slaughtering that entire family and taking time torturing them.
Oh, God. Okay.
It included an eyeball appearing in a hamburger. They replaced this with the finger in the French fries. There was a graphic sex scene in the original version, it was Gal instead of Nash, short for Galveston, implied that they met in Galveston, Texas. Texas. But there was a Terminator-style sex scene between her and Jim. There was a character being decapitated. The movie underwent several rewrites, which removed gorier moments, I think in part because they did not have the capability to film them. But the way they did what they did is very smart.
Yeah.
Many directors have listed this as one of their favorite films or an inspiration, including Christopher Nolan.
That does not surprise me because this movie has some pretty awesome shots, and I only saw 70% of each shot, you know?
Yeah, because of
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, who plays Nash, agreed to do this movie because she wanted to work with Rutger Hauer again. She had worked with him the year before in Flesh and Blood. That's flesh + blood. And she liked the character, so that was kind of what made her sign on. They stop at Roy's Motel and Cafe. It is a real place. It is a famous landmark on Route 66, which is basically, now it's Interstate 40. It's split up across a couple things, but it's in Amboy, California. So between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. And it has been featured in many movies and documentaries. You can still go there today.
Very cool.
Now, I'm going to do a couple more fun facts, and then I'm going to end on the craziest one that you would never guess.
Okay.
Don't let me forget to do it. They also offered the role of John Ryder to Terrence Stamp, which would have also been very interesting because it would have been right before Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So that would have been an interesting draft also.
Yeah. I mean, that's General Zod from Superman that came out 6 years before this.
Yeah.
He's a good bad guy.
He's a good bad guy.
That'd be a good version too. Yeah. I mean, Terrence Stamp has been in a bunch of stuff. You would recognize him if you don't know his name already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly ranked this as the 19th scariest movie of all time. It is a tense movie for sure.
It is.
For the role of Jim, they considered Matthew Modine, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, and Charlie Sheen before settling on C. Thomas Howell. And I think C. Thomas Howell works better because he's not the pretty boy necessarily. He looks more like an everyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he does.
Maton is prison slang for prison warden in French. So the graffiti written on the jail cell wall that says "Mort au maton" means death to the wardens, which is kind of fun.
Love it.
This was the director's first movie.
Yeah. Paige. Crazy, right?
Yes. Insane.
I'll say this, because I noticed that, I did some research on the crew he worked with, and the cinematographer is a guy you have definitely seen and loved his work. He shot, let me look him up again, because I know Mad Max Fury Road was one of the more recent things
Fury
he shot.
Road.
But he also shot, and this is not a very loved movie, but it is a beautiful movie, and I kind of liked it. It's the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time movie.
That's a terrible movie that is shot really well.
I love that video game series so much.
Movie.
He shot Cold Mountain. He shot the very first Harry Potter.
Oh, the first Harry Potter is shot incredibly well.
It is. He also shot City of Angels, Paige. He shot The Firm.
City of Angels, despite being a bonkers movie, is also shot really well.
Yeah, he shot in 1988 and 89. He shot Dead Poet Society, Rain Man, and Gorillas in the Mist.
Oh.
This guy is an amazing cinematographer.
He's got the shine.
And listen, I'm not saying that to say the director didn't do a great job, because he did. I just think it makes sense that he could direct at this level because the cinematographer guy had a lot of experience and had his shit locked down.
Yes.
So the director could just direct.
Yes.
Because a lot of things, if you don't have a very experienced crew, the director's the top man on the totem pole.
Right.
Or he's the top man of the chain, right? So if you don't know how to do your job, it's that guy who's got to pick up the slack. And it seems to me the cinematographer had his department on lock.
Oh, yeah. I do have, because we questioned this while watching the movie, is Nash her last name? Nash is her first name. Nash Galveston.
Oh, her name is Nashley?
It's, Nashley Galveston. Nash Galveston.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that remains from that early draft of the script.
Cool. Okay.
This is one of the only movies that Roger Ebert gave 0 stars,
Wow.
which I super disagree with.
Of course you do, Paige. I mean, you've mentioned how much you like it, and honestly, a lot of people really do love this movie. But I can totally see why. Can I guess, Paige?
Yeah. What was it?
You don't really learn a lot about the two main characters, and it's just about killing, and there's not really much of a story, because I think he missed the Fight Club of it all, Paige.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's a story regardless. No, they thought this movie was too violent.
Yeah, of course.
Period.
Yeah, of course.
And so Johnny Carson interviewed them about it and asked them if they were opposed to censorship. And they were like, of course, the film should be made, it should be shown, and it should not be attended by anybody. Hard disagree, but fine.
I mean, they can have their opinion. That's all that is. You know, I don't really care what they say. It's not going to impact whether I like it or not, which is how I hope people, like, when we're critical of a movie, feel about us. Like, I don't care if you agree with me or not. You're allowed to have your own opinion. Like, enjoy it.
Sure. At the time of this movie's release, the conversation around it was actually more that there was a vein of both homophobia and homoeroticism running through it, with the fact that at the time, Hollywood movies were not really addressing any LGBTQ topics or themes.
How could you say that when Top Gun, with the famous beach volleyball scene, came out a year before this?
But some critics interpreted this film as a slasher movie about gay panic.
Interesting.
Their reading being that Rutger Hauer is gay, like his character is gay, and that he's scared of him because he's scared of the feelings of him. I think that's a very interesting reading. I don't think it's entirely wrong, because even in the movie, they call out that there is something between them, but I see it more as predator and prey.
Yes. Yeah.
Than I do specifically homoeroticism.
We, I think, as a point of the director, don't get a motivation for why Rutger Hauer is doing what he's doing. So, like, yes, it could be that. It could be literally any other thing. He could have lost his job 6 months ago and the money was running out and he didn't tell his family that he, like, lost his job. So now he's, like, going to go home and family annihilate, and we're seeing him on the run having just family annihilated. Like, there's so many plausible reasons. So, like, yeah, it could be that one, but it could be anything else.
It could be anything else, but this is part of what Roger Ebert claimed as far as disliking the movie, is that he basically compared it to 9.5 Weeks that got a lot of publicity for kinky sex, but he says that The Hitcher, quote, "This movie is 10 times more perverted, more heartless, and more cruel. It's a deeply cynical movie that doesn't have the courage to admit what it's really about, which is gay sadomasochism. And I don't know which I hated more in this movie, the cynicism or the dishonesty." And I'm like, I think this says more about you, Mr. Ebert.
Yeah, that is like literally just the bigotry that was common at the time.
Well, and I'm like, you could read this movie so many different ways. You could definitely read some of that into it.
Sure,
I don't think it's cynical or dishonest. I think the movie is the movie. And like multiple readings, it seems like Roger Ebert was going through something personally, and this movie, I guess, hurt him in some way.
I don't know, man. I honestly feel like that's a very, like, of this time take.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not surprised to hear that coming from the 80s.
Well, and I think it's coming from people who are like two men talking gay. Like that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Right. Anyway, maybe there's a reason, because this is our craziest fun fact, one that you would never guess. There was a company that lent money to HBO to finance this movie. That company
is the mob. Say it, Paige.
Kind of.
Well, really? Okay. Finish, please. Sorry.
No, it's the Bushes. George W. Bush financed this movie.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And during
Paige.
the 2000 presidential election, his critics used his involvement in this film to discredit his stance on family values and his criticism of pervasive violence in Hollywood movies.
I'm struggling right now. Hang on.
I know.
What?
I know.
I need a second.
It didn't work, obviously, but like...
I'm sorry. Was he like a producer? Like, I need more. Tell me more. Like, did he fund it?
Let me tell you.
Okay.
He served on the board of a company that helped finance this movie for HBO.
Okay.
He probably never saw a script.
He has no idea what this... Okay.
He has no idea what this movie was.
Yeah. I mean, he probably saw it on a spreadsheet at one point and was like, okay,
Yes.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Movies are a great way for people to launder money, or to hide excess returns and to then qualify them as a loss.
Which, if y'all knew about Prescott Bush, would not surprise you. Guys, look into it.
This is far from the only movie that the Bushes have financed, and most of them don't align with their political values. They're trying to finance something that either will lose money or will make enough money that they can justify the loss and then have the returns on a later tax return a year or two later. So like,
Paige, you'll come to find out when we talk box office that this movie failed successfully then.
yeah,
But we'll talk about it in a second.
it's why you will sometimes see movies that you're like, who would make this? This is terrible. Get financed by people because they're banking on it failing. It is the producers.
Which, guys, if you haven't seen The Producers, see it. Nathan Lane.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Honestly, Matthew Broderick in an off-character kind of type, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, Paige, thank you for those fun facts. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So this movie came out in 1986. What do you think the production budget was for The Hitcher when it came out?
Ooh, I think the production budget for this is actually pretty low. I think this was maybe $2 million or under.
Paige, based upon one of your fun facts, I'm really glad you said that because I too believe you could have made this movie for $2 million. This movie's budget that was, I assume, also said to the IRS was $7.9 million.
That's not crazy, though.
It's
That's
not crazy.
There's a lot of car crashes in
there are a lot of cars that get destroyed in this movie. You're right.
and explosions.
That would be like $23.1 million today. But again, at the time, it was $7.9 million. Now,
is some of that embezzled? Definitely. But like, not that much.
listen, my boy's got to run for governor. Anyway, wait.
That is actually probably why.
Hang on. Guys.
Well, no, because they filmed a lot of it in California. So no.
Wait, what?
They filmed a lot of it in California. But if it was being filmed in Texas at the time, I could absolutely see him financing it to then argue that he was keeping film production in Texas. But no, this is mostly filmed in California.
Fair enough. Either way, it came out the weekend of February 21st, 1986. And it was 8th the weekend it came out. And again, it did not get a full theatrical release. The full theatrical release numbers were around just over 1,000 around this time. And it was released into 794 theaters. But Paige, how much do you think it brought in its opening weekend?
January and February is where you dump movies that you know are going to fail.
It is, yeah. Which I think if we're talking about the money laundering of it all, allegedly, I mean, that sort of fits with the we want this movie to fail producers vibe.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say there's no way this makes more than $1 million its first week.
Paige, actually, it made $2.1 million.
Good for them.
And listen,
Good for them.
a lot of movies were out at this time. And this obviously came in 8th, but the number 1 movie had been out for 4 weeks and it was Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Number 2 was Wildcats. It had been out for 2 weeks. Number 3 was A Color Purple or The Color Purple, and that had been out for 10 weeks.
And would go on to win the Oscars that year.
Absolutely, yes. And then number 4 was The Delta Force, which had been out for 2 weeks.
Famous.
From the amazing Cannon Studios. And number 5 was Murphy's Romance that had been out for 9 weeks. There were a lot of big movies in theaters. Like Out of Africa was 6.
Ooh.
Anyway, so yeah, like a lot, and that had been out for 10 weeks, Paige. But a lot of like movies that like are still talked about today were still in theaters at this time. It's crazy. Anyway, so it brought in $2.1 million in its opening weekend, and it was only in the top 10 in its opening weekend, and it was only in theaters for 2 more weeks for a 3-week run. But Paige, what do you think it brought in domestically? And it didn't really get much of an international box office, so this is kind of worldwide numbers. What do you think it brought in its theatrical run?
Theatrical run, if it made $2 million, I think max it's going to make about $5.7 million.
Paige, you were just so close. It was $5.8 million, but I got to give it to you. Like, it's like 5. The fact that you had the 5 right was amazing. So, like, take it, you know?
Yes.
Anyway, Paige, yeah, that's what it made in the worldwide was $5.8 million. And if you adjust that for inflation today, that would be like $17.1 million. And if you remember, against a $7.9 million budget, which was like a $23 million if you adjust for inflation. So it did lose money in the theaters, which may have been by design. Allegedly, although people do love this movie. They've talked about this movie. Like,
it's
I'm
a
sure
good movie.
that it made money when it was on video, like VHS and then DVD and Blu-ray. So I'm sure it's made money, but it just took a long time to get there. But that's your box office. So, Paige, do you maybe want to hit us with that scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of how scary we found the film when we watched it today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
I'm going to give it a 3 because the one jump scare and it just overall scary, tense vibe, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, 3 is pretty much where I had it too for the tense vibes.
Yeah.
Tense vibes are the things that get me. I'm not a gore, not a, jump scare, but tense vibes. Woo! Yeah, so I'll give it a 3.
All right. But Paige, this week we watched The Hitcher. What are we watching next week as we continue road trip horror?
Now, y'all asked us to do this back when we did Planet Terror. We did not finish the Grindhouse second half.
Very true. We only watched the other one.
Yeah, first half, because I think Planet Terror was actually the second half.
That's the one I had to watch at a Starbucks.
There you go.
While on the road.
If you want to watch this at a Starbucks, that's up to you. But starring Kurt Russell, we are going to be watching Death Proof.
I still haven't seen it.
Death Proof!
But I am kind of looking forward to it because I remember really liking the other half of this, like, Grindhouse vibe.
Very different. I would say, personally, and I think I'm going to enjoy it and have a great time watching it, I find Death Proof to be a little talky, but it is Quentin Tarantino, and it is worth it for the car chase at the end. So, be patient with it. It is worth it.
Quentin Tarantino at this time, when he still had an editor he trusted, like, I'm looking forward to it.
Very excited for Death Proof.
All right, guys, so that's your homework for next week, to watch Death Proof and then report back for that episode.
Hey, Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a comment off of our most recent Sinners episode, and this one's going to come in from Alyssa. And they say, the Puss in Boots fun fact is true. I have the clip saved from the interview. Coogler said he made Remek's eyes red based on how deaths would glow in the dark before you saw the rest of him in Puss in Boots.
Okay.
Which, like, okay, that's very cool. And we got a lot of comments on Sinners, maybe the most we've ever gotten on it. And man, it was great.
Such a good movie. Everyone go see it.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, do one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast. Some might call it a sister podcast called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady, and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back, and I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah, have an amazing week, guys. Bye! Rutger Hauer is basically a shark in this movie, nerds!